This episode, tools, I should say, of the year. This year, we digressed from our normal setup in that both Johnny and I have different tools of the year. So we're going to do independent reviews of each of our tools of the year or tool of the year.
Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show. Home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros.
Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros Radio Show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This episode is entitled Tools of the Year, and both Johnny and I are tools, but I'm here to explain my ever-cheerful co-host and old buddy Johnny. Johnny, that's not very nice. I call this tools. You believe that?
Yeah,
what's been going on this week, Johnny? Anything exciting?
No, not anything out of the ordinary. Fixing. Yeah, I'll tell you. Here we go again. I fixed a whole bunch of toilets. I don't know what it is. Like I always say, these things come in spurts. It's always like a run. It's like, okay, I got plumbing work, or then all of a sudden everybody wants to do some electrical stuff, or it's.
Yeah. And it's almost like everybody's toilet valves wear out at the same time.
Yeah,
it really is true. I mean, it's really true.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I don't know how else to describe it. All right, before we get into our tool discussion, please like and subscribe our channels, please. We appreciate it. We are on YouTube if you'd like to see our ugly faces. One of these days we're going to do some real YouTube videos, some tool reviews and stuff. But folks, I have to be honest, you really don't know how hard video is until you start trying to produce this stuff. Man, it's tough. It's tough. And since this is our hobby,
you really have to dedicate some time,
effort, and resources to doing video really well. So we just have not chosen to do that yet because we don't make any money at this, and so we just have a good time doing what we do. Anyway, we hope you don't mind. Anyway,
we're just trying to share our frustration with you. These things.
Well, trying to get you
frustration of life is going through it. Every time I turn around, I'm fixing something.
The frustration.
So I'm leaving a whole bunch of things out. I mean, I swear every day I'm freaking fixing something.
Well, of course,
it probably is valuable to somebody, and vice versa with some the people out there. Hey, share it with us, will you, on the comments?
Yeah, share it with us. Send us an email.
Really, misery loves company.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, trust me, if you've got something that you have any questions about whatsoever, I mean anything, and you want to know, which way outlets are supposed to go, send us an email because we'll answer it. Trust me, we'll answer it on air. It's just kind of one of those things. I think, as I always like to say, we've probably forgotten more about home improvement and maintenance than a lot of people know, and that's not, how special are we? It's just that we've been doing it for so long, and we just do stuff. We don't even think about it anymore. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out because we'll give you an answer, whether you want it or not. It's a different story, but we'll give you an answer. So that's the thing. All right, Johnny, tools of the year. What is your tool of the year?
Surprisingly, yes. I went out and I bought a cordless glue gun.
Hot glue gun.
Glue gun. I will tell you. Now, here's another tip for you, folks. Underneath my battery compartment, I always leave myself a note where the glue sticks are. So I know what box to go into.
That's a good tip.
But
Johnny is showing that on the YouTube channel. If you're not,
this thing. Now, everybody out there, if you're doing crafts, whatever, you've used corded hot glue gun.
Yes. How many airplanes have I built with a hot glue gun?
No, both of us.
Right.
So this thing, though, has been my go-to for a number of things, and I am shocked. Honestly, I didn't think it was going to work as well as it does. I have bought every type of industrial hot glue stick that I could get my hands on, and this thing melts them. So it's got two temperatures on it.
Yeah, 2 settings.
And the battery lasts a long, long time. I can't believe it.
I find that interesting because you would think that a heating element would suck the juice out of battery, right?
And so, now I don't leave it on. I mean, it goes you turn it on, it's red, then it turns green, you're ready to go. This thing, though, I can put it in my bag and all kinds of stuff, and you just take it right to the job site, and you can do a lot with this hot glue. I mean, everybody knows that, but it's like,
well, so give some examples, right? Let's talk, let's get into the nitty gritty on this one. Cause I'm, of course I'm going to be on the verge of buying one of these now that you've used this thing and found out it actually works. I've known about those for a while, and I always wondered, does it really melt the glue, right? Because the ones that I have that are plug-in ones some are good and some are bad, and I've used many different styles.
You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked at how good this thing is.
I love the fact that it's cordless. That really appeals to me.
So I have glued pieces of wood together. I mean, 2x4s, just to hold them temporarily. I thought while I'm working on stuff, or I had to put a screw in it and I just use it like a third hand. You can't get them apart. I mean, the hot glue on the high setting, it just gets into the wood fibers and it just rips the fibers apart like regular regular construction adhesive. Now it would. Now let me make it clear. I'm not saying this is like construction adhesive. Right. I'm saying that this thing is pretty damn strong, especially some of these types of glue sticks. I'm not talking about the ones that you're just buying out of Michael's or something to use on styrofoam projects, or building a little Christmas tree for my desk or something like that. But this thing is surprisingly so. I had to reattach some trim onto a ceiling, as a matter of fact, yesterday, and at a site. And the way they had it, long story short, it was I think it's like the 826 trim, or I can't remember what they call it, that goes around windows.
Stuff windows and doors.
Yeah. So the original people, they shot it in with crown staples right into the wall board. Well, that just wiggles loose and just falls right out. I just put a couple of drops of hot glue on there, stuck them back up there. It ain't going nowhere. I mean, it works like a charm. Yeah. And I've glued all kinds of things together. I mean, it's guys, it's hot glue. But the nice part about it is it's battery operated. It's melting everything I can get my hands on. And you'd be surprised what you can do with that stuff now that you've got a cordless version of that tool.
Well, it's a combination of cordless. I do want to reiterate one thing that you said, and that is that you say you use it as a third hand, and that's something that, because you and I both work alone a lot, that's really an important thing, folks. And if you don't understand what we're referring to, sometimes if you're trying to set a screw, you're trying to set a nail, you just want to get something up. You want to get it attached so you can get the alignment right. And you can get the alignment right, and then you have to try to set the screw. Well, then the alignment comes out and you're cursing and you're screaming and blah, blah, blah. So I have always used my finish nailer for things like that, which is both good and bad. But I like the idea of using this hot glue gun as the same thing. So basically, I shoot a finish nail into the piece to hold it, to hold it temporarily until I can get an actual screw that's actually going to hold basically forever in there to get it, into the pieces that I'm putting together. So this using the hot glue gun is the same kind of thing. And then the other great advantage is like you're talking about, well, this trim thing where you're like trim, and that's really common. It's more common than we want to think, where trim is just trim. It's not heavy. It doesn't need incredible holding power. And yet at the same time, sticking staples or nails into drywall does absolutely no good whatsoever. Right. It's useless. Right. So, because eventually, as John just said, it works its way out. But you glue that up there, dude, it's not ever. Yeah,
it's not coming down. No, I didn't put a whole lot on it because if they ever want to take it down, it's not going to rip everything. But you know what? You don't need to. Right. Now, the other thing about hot glue, since we're talking about it, is you can use things like if you've ever worked on counters. You can put hot glue and a block on a counter and glue the block onto the counter and use clamps to drag counters together and be able to just undo, just get a putty knife underneath there and just pop the glue right back off.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of pretty cool things you can do with hot glue, whether it's temporary or it's permanent. And guys putting it down on LVP floors and gluing some of the LVP down that they can't, you might have to cut off the tongue or the tongue and groove or whatever the clips are on the side. Yep. I mean, you can use some of this industrial stuff, and man, it ain't going anywhere. So, I mean, but the thing is about it is it's cordless. I've used it more than I thought I was ever going to use it, to tell you the truth.
That's the big surprise. Not surprise. I shouldn't say surprise. That's kind of the magic of what makes it your tool of the year, is that it has so many different uses, and you probably haven't even thought of all the uses that you can use it for yet.
Well,
right?
And that's the thing, because I can just throw it in my bag and I go there, go to the site and I've got, I never even thought about using hot glue for a lot of these applications.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I mean. So it's all of a sudden you have this tool, and all of a sudden you find the use for it, and that's really the magic of it. So, and one other thing, I just want to talk a little bit more about hot glue, because it comes in two temperatures too. Now, you don't want to use the really hot stuff, like when you really need to melt down a lot. Probably, I'm assuming, but let me ask you a different question. Where are you sourcing that industrial glue from? Those industrial sticks?
Online,
yeah.
So you can get some pretty good stuff in some of the stores. And then there's the real specialized stuff that I haven't. I'll be honest that I haven't purchased, but I purchased some that was pretty, I would pretty up there. And this stuff, I will tell you that you need a gun to melt it. Now, some of it. I'll be honest. I can't say that this would melt maybe the highest temperature stuff, but I have yet to find anything that this has not melted. So everything that I'm doing with it, I mean, it works like a champ.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the reason that I'm mentioning it is of course we've when we deal with foam, we build a lot of foam airplanes. We're using low temp stuff, and the low temp stuff is. You can use that too.
So right? that's why I bought this thing. There's two versions of this. One is, one temperature, and then there's this one that's got dual temperature.
Yep.
So you can do low, you can just put it on low. Now, I tell you, I was insulating an electrical box. This is a long story. But I had to buy some of that XPS, that expanded.
Yeah. Yep.
Polystyrene or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
You know what? I had to cut it. I had to cut the 4x8 sheet to get it into the car. It's $18 a sheet for the half-inch stuff.
Right.
It's the green stuff.
Yep.
And hey, you know what? Use the hot glue, and I put the sheet back together.
Yeah, well, of course.
And it holds like it wasn't even cut.
I've done it many a time, right? We've built many airplanes out of that stuff.
So, I mean, there's all kinds of things,
Yeah.
I said,
and that's just a point. You use the low temp stuff on the foam. Like say you wanted to take that foam and attach it to something. Some of the chemical glues that you're going to use will melt that stuff. Some of the,
I was just going to go there.
Yeah, it'll melt it. Whereas if you use low temp hot glue, it won't melt it, and it sticks just as well. It sticks. I
was just gonna go there because I insulated a box with the XPS stuff, and I just added a couple of drops here.
Yeah.
And put it up there and just put it all together.
Right.
And like a champ, man, like a champ.
All right, time for me to talk about my tool of the year. Certainly not going to be as long as Johnny talking about his. So my tool of the year is actually my cordless planer, which I think we showed on a different show. But this was a tool that I bought. I was working on I've been working on my famous shed that I still have to someday put some pictures up of. But anyway, and I was trying to take some wood, take some edging off and trying to get some wood. And finally, I was just like, I was buying some products and it came up as a special in my feed, and I was like, all right, I'm going to buy one of these things and use it. Well, it's another one that I've used it a ton more than I thought I would, and I've used it largely to just make wood smoother and or make things fit better. And it is, again, Yeah, it happens to be a Ryobi product. It doesn't matter, but a cordless planer is a really good thing for y'all to think about, because it just takes that removal of material. It speeds it up to a factor of like so much that it's so worthwhile to have when you have one. And until you have one, you don't realize how much time you spend just smoothing things off to make a nice fit. It's just been crazy. Everything from edges of wood to putting together, I don't know, I've put together so many different things where I've used it and smoothed everything out and made it really, really nice. And then it gives you the ability to do a really nice fine finish sand on top of that.
Absolutely. With something like that, if you're going to be building any kind of cabinets and things, and you want the two pieces of wood to meet perfectly, and you don't have a table, joiner and things like that. Right. These things work freaking awesome. It really is. I'm gonna invest in one of those things, because I've got a lot of uses for that thing.
Yeah, and you can actually use it in your rough framing as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have, for example, if you have a bowed 2x4 and it's not severely bowed in a wall, and you're trying to get something ready for drywall, and you want a relatively smooth surface, you basically don't want a big hump in the wall. Run that planer down. Yep. Yeah, it'll take off enough. It takes it off so fast, you'll be like, why haven't I had one of these for 25 years?
That's a good tip.
You should have it. You should. I'm not being critical, but I just found like, wow, okay, great. Now I understand why I needed one of these things, and I didn't understand it until I had it. It's kind of like you and I have played with hot glue guns forever, John.
Yeah.
And yet we never thought to take one on the construction site, because I don't want to drag cords around.
Exactly.
Just like you. And same thing with this planer. I've known about planers forever. Gosh, they've been around forever. But a good cordless one, that's a relatively recent addition. I mean, that's 4 or 5 years tops that they've had a good cord. It's largely due to battery technology. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But what a difference. I mean, and just time saving. I mean, it's so worth it. It's paid for itself. It paid for itself. It easily saved me more than an hour, easily. And that's my payoff time. It was about $75 and I get $75 an hour, and that's what it is. And boom, done. My customer's happy. They've got a better finished product. I've saved all this time. I will say the only downside to this bad boy, does it create sawdust. Woo-wee. Man, I mean, it kicks it out, but that's kind of the good side, right? Because that's how fast it's eaten through the wood. It does come with a bag on it. So here was the reason I say that is that bag fills up really fast.
Yeah.
And then you're like, where's all, what the heck?
Yeah, unless you attach a shop vac to it or something.
You could attach a shop vac to it too. Yeah. But anyway, be that as it may, that's been the only, kind of downside. It's not really that bad. It's just something to be aware of. And that's only, when I've worked with it outside, I've just opened it up to the outside and let the sawdust go everywhere. It's at my house. So places I've done that's at my house. I wouldn't do that on a job. I'd
say, hey, guys out there, folks out there, leave us some comments on what your go-to tools are for the year. The type of things that Larry and I are talking about.
Yeah.
We're always interested in these kind of things, and making life a little easier, more enjoyable.
Yeah, really leave us some notes on that, because we don't know what our next purchases are going to be, you know, and having, like, for example, right now I have been looking at a wood chipper. Okay. So, you can buy a wood chipper for anywhere from like $200 up to how much do you want to spend?
Fargo style wood chipper.
Yeah, right. So do I want to be able to cut up a 12-inch log? That's, you're talking $15,000 for something like
diesel
that. Right?
Operated.
Yeah, diesel, right. The whole deal. But anyway, I happen to be on a job right now where I'm clearing some land, and I'm not cutting anything that's too big. It's all like an inch at the best size. And I'm like, I wonder how well these little wood chippers really work. Well, I'm not going to go out and spend the money for one unless I have an idea of how it works. So if you've been using a tool, we want to know how it works. I never believed that those the cordless electric glue guns would actually be worth a flip until Johnny bought his. Now I'm like, well, shoot, now I know, right? Now we know. And part of our goal here for this podcast is just to help you with good information to help you make good decisions, is what it is.
Reciprocate on that, will you guys?
Reciprocate on that one. Good call, Johnny. Anyway, we got anything else, Johnny?
No, that's that's it. I mean, that's that's if I had to pick one of the tools out, besides my cordless stapler, which is another thing. I cannot believe I'm using that thing as much as I am.
I bought one shortly after I used yours because we were on that job.
It's unbelievable.
And I used yours together. Yeah, really, that's a good one. It's really it's a good ad.
Yeah, it's a really good ad.
Yeah, this is an arrow, like shoot an arrow T50 staple. Just a
and
regular.
You can get the staples in stainless. So if you're going to use them outside,
yes, you can.
If you're going to use them outside, they're not going to rust.
Correct.
But this, it's unbelievable what a difference.
Oh yeah.
That an electric stapler is compared to a hand stapler.
You wouldn't know until you have one.
It's surprising. Anyways,
all right. Anyways, with that, spaceship.
The spaceship
stapled together or hot glued? That's my question.
I don't know. Could
and did they plane the surface?
It was plainly hot glued.
With that, don't forget, if you would, like and subscribe our podcast. I know I said it earlier, but if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, handymanprosradioshow.com, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com, and we will get back with you on that. At Handyman Pros on Facebook, also, we usually answer the questions there as well. So with that, Johnny, take us home.
All right, folks. Leave us some comments on some of the tools that you guys, some of your go-to tools you can't live without, man. we'd love to hear it. So have a safe week, and we'll see you next time on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.